Jessica. Welcome back to Budget Freedom, and today I want to talk to you about my budgeting method. I've done quite a few videos here showing you different budgeting techniques that I use and skills and tips, but I wanted to do a refresher today on what I do every single day, month, week with my budget and how I make it successful. So I did write up my budgeting method list here for you guys, and I will go through it and tell you exactly what I do and how it works. Before we continue, please, if you're watching till this point, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notifications, whatever channel you're watching on, and please help me to get out there more and to get the videos seen by more people by your support, and that way I'll be able to make more videos for you and hopefully help more people. All right, and please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. I love to help and to comment and to answer any questions that you might have. So please feel free to talk and join the community so that we can all help each other out. All right, to jump on to the first item here, the first thing that I do is I organize my bills and expenses. So I make sure that all the bills that we have for our household, and by bills I mean direct deposits or things that need to be paid every month, like your car payment, your mortgage, utilities, internet bills, phone bills, basically anything like that that's a standard monthly expense or bill. Okay, so by organizing that, I mean having them all in one place, which would be on a list so that it's readily available when you make your budget. Also, you need to have your list of all the bills that you have for the month and their due dates. The due dates are really important, especially if you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, because you'll need to know what paycheck to include those bills on. So I don't have a car payment. I only have a mortgage payment and then the utilities, water, electricity, internet, and phone, things like that. But I will go through that again with you when I close out my June budget in 2 weeks' time. My May budget closeout is up, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want, and you'll see all the expenses that we have there and how we manage them. I am working on a monthly budget right now, but I have been on both a weekly and bi-weekly budget, so I know how to handle all the different kind of budgeting types. And yeah, I will share all my experiences with you there. Okay, so I have my bills organized on a list with their due dates so that I don't forget any bills. And we don't take on new bills, but if you ever do add a new bill, obviously add it to the list. Okay, and then your expenses is everything else that you spend money on, like food, clothing, going out, miscellaneous, personal care, kids if you have, all of that kind of stuff. Those are expenses. And the best way to organize your expenses is to get in the habit of collecting receipts for everything that you buy, and then keeping those receipts in a safe place, either in your, if you're a woman, in your purse, or if you're a man, in your wallet. And then as soon as you get home, having a little box by the front door, if you have like an entranceway, and you can either put a little box. I like using a cookie jar. They're really cute and decorative, and there's a lid on it so the receipts don't fly out. And so I have my cookie jar at the front of the house, and we also don't have a lot of spend days, but when we do spend, I just bring the receipts home, put them in that cookie jar, and then they're all there ready for when I'm ready to update my budget and update my tracking expenses. I just pull out all the receipts and I write them down on my expense tracker, and that way you don't miss anything. If you do happen to buy something, like let's say you stop on the street and you get a bagel or a hot dog or something and you don't get a receipt for it, some places don't give receipts, then if you have a little notepad on your phone, just round up, if it's $4.50, just put $5, lunch. We're not going to be worried about cents here, guys. I know some people obsess about it, but I don't think that that's the point to budgeting. The point to budgeting is getting control of your finances and doing better with your money, telling your money where to go and making your money work for you. And that does not involve worrying about where did 15 cents go, or 20 cents, or even $2.40 throughout the month. You just want to know 99% where your money's going and how you're spending it so that you can correct it and tell it to go to the right place. So again, if you don't get receipts for something, just make a little note on your notepad on your phone, for round the amount up, and that's all you need to do. Okay. Yeah, every paycheck needs a budget. So I don't get a paycheck because, well, I do get a paycheck. Let me go back. I have two jobs. So I have my bookkeeping job where I get a paycheck once a month, and, well, bookkeeping service, and then I have our business. And our business, we get money in every week. But I don't use the money on a weekly basis. I use it on a monthly basis. So basically I add it all, I save it all up, and then I have my amount for the next month, and I budget off of that total amount for the month. So again, I have experience doing, before I was getting paid bi-weekly and weekly, so I've done all of the different kind of paychecks. But the point to this is that whenever you have a paycheck, you need to have a budget for it so that you don't just spend that money and not know where it's going. Obviously, you need to look at your bills. You need to, if you do a bi-weekly budget, you're going to have two mini budgets basically. And on the first mini budget, you're going to have all the bills that are due in that pay period. So if your electricity and water and whatever is due on the 15th, that needs to be in that first pay period of the 1st to the 15th. And then in the second paycheck, 15th to 30th, if your mortgage is due, and I don't know if you have car payment or credit cards or whatever else it is, that needs to be on those lists. So that would be the first step, is take your two little mini budgets for the pay week period and write down all the bills first so that you know, okay, for that pay period, I'm going to be getting $3,000 here and $3,200 there, or however it works. And these are the bills that need to be paid. And then you will immediately know how much money is left over for expenses. Okay. And then you will need to work your expenses out. How much food do you need for the 2-week periods? Traveling, gas, things like that. Do you need any other sundry expenses, personal care, going out, things for your kids, clothing, whatever it is. And then obviously if you have any debt that you want to pay off or savings that you want to make, which you should be, then you need to also allocate that into the 2 paycheck periods. And then if you're lucky enough to get 3 paychecks in a month, which happens sometimes, when you have 5 weeks, then you can go ahead and use that extra money, because it technically is extra money, and hopefully save more of it or pay more debt off. But we'll get into that later. Okay, so I have a budget for every single paycheck that I have. I organize my bills and expenses. The other very important thing to do is set a day to budget. So if you're not able to budget every single week, at least every 2 weeks, you need to sit down and budget. It doesn't need to be a long time, half an hour to an hour. I do my budgeting every Sunday. So once a week, every Sunday, I take an hour in the morning, I have my tea in the morning, and then I go over my budget for the week that's coming up. I make sure that I'm on track with everything. If there's any changes that I need to make, if something has come up that I need to pay, I'll work that into the budget and readjust it. And just basically just do like a health check. Are we on budget? Is everything going okay? Is there anything that we need to adjust? And make sure that the next week I know how much I need to spend and on what. So you definitely need a set day for budgeting every week, in my opinion, but every 2 weeks is okay as well. Okay. The very next thing that's very important, and I do it all the time, is you have to write out your financial goals, both for your savings and your debt. So I have a savings tracker or planner, and a debt planner. And what does that basically mean? I write down everything I want to save for. So I want to save to paint this room. That's on there. I want to save for a railing for my patio. That's on there. I want to save, my emergency fund in full. That's on there. So it can be anything from a small savings goal to a big savings goal. But you need to have it planned out. You need to write it all out, write the amount out, so that you can start tackling them one at a time. And that way you have a roadmap of where you want to go. If you don't write it down, then when you get money, even if it's 20 or 30 bucks extra, you're probably going to spend it on something that you don't need to spend it on. But if you have a preset goal written down, if you have a plan, you're going to go, oh, you know what, I can put that 20 bucks to that debt or towards that savings. And when you start putting 20, 30 bucks every month, 50 bucks, maybe 100 bucks, maybe a few $100, you're going to see that those accounts are going to grow, that savings are going to grow, or that debt is going to come down, and you're going to get more encouraged. And the more that you pay it down or save it up, the more money you're going to have available to do more with. So it doesn't matter how small the investment is, how much you're able to throw towards debt or savings. The point is doing it. Because the more you get in the habit of doing it, like I said, even if it's $20, $20 a month, the more you do that, the more conscious you're going to get with your budget, and the more controlled you're going to get with it. And then you'll actually notice yourself saving money in a lot of other places. And before you know it, you're gonna be like, you know what, I actually have like 50 or 60 bucks extra a month, or maybe $100 extra a month. And you're gonna be more conscious with your money, and you're gonna see the benefits, you're gonna see the rewards. It might happen quick for you, and it might happen slow. It really depends. We're all different. We all have different lives. We all have different obstacles and different income levels and different expense levels. So don't be hard on yourself. A tiny shovel is still a shovel. And the more you shovel, the bigger it will get, okay? So just stay focused, write down your goals so that you have a roadmap. Because when it gets dark, when you get depressed, when you feel like there's no point to it, if you look at that and you see how far you've come, that's gonna be a real encouragement. And also sometimes maybe if you're just a bit foggy and you don't really know where you're going, when you look at those goals, it will help refocus you and redirect you in the direction that you need to be going. So I do that a lot. I do that sometimes every 2 days. So it really helps me having those things clearly written out. The other thing that I do in my budgeting is I use cash envelopes. Cash envelopes help you gain control over your variable spending. So again, your variable spending are your expenses like clothing, food, going out, miscellaneous stuff. And what you do with cash envelopes is, and they're available on my website, you can check out the links below, they're free. You make your little cash envelope, so it's just a little envelope and it has a name on it, so a category, let's say food, miscellaneous, personal care, kids, travel, going out, whatever it is. And so when you get paid, if it's every month or every 2 weeks, again, when you do your little mini budgets, you'll say, okay, we're going to pay all these bills. I'm going to have whatever amount left over for variable spending, let's say $1,200 this week. I'm going to split that now. 500 to food, 200 to gas, 100 miscellaneous, 100 personal care, 200 kids, however you're going to do it. So you would draw all that money out of the ATM, and then you would stuff the correct amounts in every single envelope. So whenever you go to spend money, if it's food, you're going to take that money out of your food envelope. If it's personal care, you're going to take it out of your personal care envelope. If it's kids, you're going to take it out of your kids envelope. And another thing that I see a lot of people get stressed out about is, what envelope do I take? I need to pay this. What envelope do I take it out of? Guys, it's your money at the end of the day, okay? Just calm down and focus. You can take money from whatever envelope you want, okay? Things happen in life, all right? Last month was a disaster for me. My dogs completely destroyed my budget, and I had to take from every envelope to cover what those dogs were doing. Sometimes that happens. That was a pretty extreme case, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes you might have extra food money in your food envelope, and you might really need to go get your kid a pair of shoes, or you might really need a new shirt for work. I'm talking on a need basis, not a want basis, guys. Understand the difference between want and need. Need, I'm saying like, I only have 3 shirts to go to work with, and my boss is going to start like questioning me if I don't get one more shirt so that I can rotate a little bit better and look decent at work. That's what I'm talking about. That's a need, okay? A want is, oh, I only have 10 shirts and I wore them all this month. I want a new shirt. That's a want, okay? That's a different situation. So I'm talking about needs. If you have a need, you can borrow from another envelope, take from another envelope, and don't overthink it and don't stress about it. Just adjust. Just spend less in that other category for that month. Maybe you don't need so much beauty treatments, or maybe you don't go out as much that month. Whatever it is, you guys have to learn to take control and to compromise and to sacrifice at some point. Sometimes you can't have it all. If you need to buy, let's say your hair dryer breaks today and you need to buy a new hair dryer, maybe you're not going to go out this month. Maybe that's going to be where your money's going to go, and you need to learn to be happy with that and accept that, and do it knowing that rather have things paid cash and stay within budget or stay very close to budget than going over budget and charging a whole bunch of stuff on your card that you can't pay anyway. That's just pointless. So that's what cash envelopes are for, and I love using them. I use them even now in the pandemic. I just clean stuff a lot. And it really helps you get involved in where your money's going. It really helps you to understand, because that's another thing that it does. When you separate the money, you might think that, okay, you need, like I said, 500 for food and 200 for this and 300 for that. And then as you go through the months, you might actually see, I don't need 200 there, or you know what, I really need an extra $100 in food. I'm just not making it. It's the second month now that I'm running out of money in that envelope. And that will make it really clear to you really quickly where your needs are more. And then you'll be able to adjust, or if you see that every month you're spending like $300-400 more on food, then you might go, you know, why am I spending so much more money on food? I know it should be costing me this month, but every month I'm going over. You might need to get into meal planning. I do meal planning. I'm going to do more videos on that and tell you about that. Meal planning is really good to not overspend at the grocery shop. So it's all about really getting into, budgeting is all about getting into your finances, getting to know your money, getting to know where you spend your money, knowing you kind of learn yourself. You're dating yourself on a financial level, guys. You're going, all right, self, where are we going today? Where are we spending money on? You know, are you going to be expensive date or are you going to be a cheap date? So get to know yourself and look at it with fun, you know, and be kind to yourself, guys. Be kind to yourself. You don't need to stress out every month. You know, if you really mess up this month, that's okay. It's information. You are just learning what not to do. That's all it is. And then next month you can do it better. So it's not important to stress out about it. It's not important to, you know, sit down and have a drink trying to decide if it should go out of your personal care folder or your miscellaneous folder, or should I borrow it for my food? That's not important, guys. Not important. Sorry, I need a drink there. Too much talking. Okay. The next really vital thing that I use is I use separate bank accounts. All right, I know that there are some people out there that have 10, 20 bank accounts. They make one bank account for every single thing. I'm not really into all that. I have 4 bank accounts. So I do think you need a checking account, your main account where all your money comes in from your job and where your automatic debits and bills get paid out of. That's your checking account. And your checking account should always have a small buffer in it, like $100 to $200, just in case you miscalculate something or fees or whatever, so that you don't get late fees and get charged, because those really add up and they're really expensive when nobody wants to pay that. So that's your first goal, is get your checkings account and make sure you always have a $100 buffer in there. Okay. Then you want to separate, so you want a couple of savings accounts. I have 2 main savings accounts. The one is for my emergency fund. So your emergency fund is your 3 to 6 months salary. And this is another thing on my list here, actually down here, but we'll go ahead and cover it now. You need an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your salary. So in any emergency situation, you're able to cover the bills in your household for 3 to 6 months. 6 months is obviously the best. A year is even better, but you know, set small goals. Start with $2,000 and then work your way up to 3 to 6 months. And that emergency fund is there for any emergency that might come up. All knock on wood and hope it doesn't happen, but if you have a medical bill that comes up, if your fridge breaks, if your car breaks, any emergency that happens that you might need some cash for and you don't want to have to go in debt for, that's what your emergency fund is there. And also, hopefully, if you lose your job or don't make enough money or whatever, that's what your emergency fund is there for. So when you use money out of your emergency fund, don't stress out about it. It's a horrible feeling. I've been there, but just work to replenish it. Okay, so I have one savings account just for my emergency fund, and then I have another savings account for all my sinking funds. Now, sinking funds are basically small term savings goals. Like I was saying, painting the room. All your yearly bills that you want to pay. So like things that you pay once a year, medical insurance, life insurance, car insurance, taxes, TV licenses, anything like that you pay once a year. And I've done other videos on this, so go check it out. It's called Paying Your Yearly Bills. What you want to do is you want to list those all out, add up the total amount and divide it by 12, and then save that amount every month, so that you're not hit with a huge chunk at one month, and it puts you out of debt and you can't pay for it. So you want a savings account where you're going to be saving all of those small things, and then you're going to keep track of it. So you'll have either a sheet on paper. I have a nice little tracker where you break it down, and so you say in the savings account I have $6,000, and that $6,000 is split into $3,000 for taxes, $1,000 for my car insurance, $1,000 for life insurance. I'm saving $1,000 for, a new couch or whatever it is, and you break it down so you know that amount, what it exactly consists of, and you never touch that money. You never spend it unless you're taking the money out to pay for one of those lines. Then you have another savings account for big savings. So like I'm saving to get a new car. So I don't want that mixed up with my emergency saving or my sinking funds. So I will then put it into that third account, and I save there because I need to save a lot of money there to buy a car cash, like 10 grand. I'm just going to keep saving it there separately so that it doesn't get mixed up with anything else. And obviously that kind of money you don't want in a cash, envelope in your house. So that's why I use a bank account. If you want to keep it in cash in your house, go for it. It works the same way. Okay, then I do track my expenses every single week. So every week, like I told you, I take that cookie jar, I take all the receipts, I write them down on my expense tracker. I also log into my bank account because some things I do pay with a debit card, and I write down everything that I paid for my debit card and make sure that I'm keeping on top of all my expenses and seeing where my money is going and how it's being spent. And then really, really important is close out your budget. So every 2 weeks, if you're getting paid, every week or every month, whenever you're getting paid, the next time you're getting paid, you need to close out the previous budget. What does that mean? So let's say I got paid 2 weeks ago. Now it's Friday, I'm getting paid again. I need to take the previous 2 weeks budget, right? Look at it. Okay, I budgeted this for all these different amounts. This is what I actually spent on them, and then see where you up or under, over or under. Because if you spent more, then that money is going to come out of your new paycheck, and you're going to have to take that into account. If you spent less and you have a little bit extra money in your savings account or in your cash envelopes, you can take that money and save it, put it towards debt, put it towards your next paycheck if you need. So you need to close out your budget. Understand what actually happened to the budget you made. So you made a budget, what actually happened. I hope that's clear. That's really important to do that every single paycheck. Okay. And I do have videos on how to close out a budget. I actually did one just for May 2020. So you can go watch that video if you want to see how I close out my budget. Okay. Our emergency fund, we already talked about. You need to have that emergency fund fully funded for 3 to 6 months. Okay. And I know that this is a touchy subject, but if you want to use credit cards or an overdraft, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. What is wrong with it is if you can't manage it. So if you decide to use a credit card this month, like for example, when I buy meat, I buy bulk meat. So I might spend $2,000 on meat, but that's going to last me 6 months. And I know that if I buy it in bulk, I'm actually saving like $750. If I don't have all the money saved up at that point for whatever reason, because life happens, I will put it on the credit card, but then I am so strict with that credit card. I get that credit card paid off in 2 paychecks minimum. And that way you don't get into a situation of having a credit card that's, got a balance on it, paying interest and all that kind of stuff. If you pay within 45 days, usually there's no interest. So I'm really, really specific with stuff like that. It's okay to have it. It's okay to keep it for emergencies or for situations like that where you don't want to really use your emergency fund. You just want to put it on a card, or some places require you to use your credit card to pay for things. In that kind of situation, if you have the money, immediately pay back the credit card, or if you need to wait till the end of the month, make sure that it's the first line item on your next budget and get it paid up in full again. My cards, my overdraft never have a balance in them. I'm talking like over a few days. They get paid off immediately. So that's really, really important. If you're going to use credit, make sure that you know how to manage it and make sure that you stick to it. All right, and then the last thing that I really use is my freedom number. And I've talked about this a lot. I've done other videos, but your freedom number is the amount of money that you need to make in order to be financially free. And it's really important to calculate that. And how do you calculate that? You don't just calculate that with like what your bills are now. You calculate that including what you want to have for the future. So if you want to buy a house, maybe you're renting now, and the house is going to cost you more. You need to say, I'm going to have a mortgage of about $1,200. Write that down. Write down everything that you want to have and figure out what's the amount of money that you're going to need to be making every month. And that again is a goal for you to work towards. Then you will start thinking in your head, how can I get a raise? Maybe I can get a second job. Maybe I can do a side hustle. Save money. Whatever it is, work towards getting that freedom number. And that will improve your life and make you financially free. Again, I have a lot of other videos on that. I don't want to go too much into it now, but I use that in my life every day. I look at my freedom number all the time. And I'm working to it, and I'm almost got it. I'm almost there, guys. So hopefully soon I will be able to do a video that I reached my freedom number. Okay, and then the last thing that you need to do is make a plan to get out of debt if you're in debt and build wealth. So we're still paying off our mortgage. That's the only debt that we have now. But other than that, we've been completely debt-free for over 8 years. And the house we only bought 3 years ago, so we were debt-free 5 years clear. So I am working on paying off the house as fast as possible and then building wealth. And building wealth can be investing in stocks. It can be investing in real estate, saving money, investing in business. It can be so many different things. But think about how you're going to build wealth for yourself and your family to retire early, to live a good life, and to hopefully give to others and help out. So guys, that's my budgeting method. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it helps you, maybe gives you some tips and ideas, and see the way I do my budgeting on a monthly basis and the different things that I use to be successful in it. If you have any comments, please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.